Okay, here we are on one of the last few days of the benchmark course, 5th of September, a Thursday. And for this 10-minute video, we're going to have a look at Townsville Race 7. Now, there's quite a few short price horses today, but a lot of those look like they're going to win. This race has an example where, well, the horse may still win, but it has a few features against it. Looking at the worksheet, if we saw it according to the market, it's a fairly wide market, $10 the field according to the Pureform market. The favourite in the race, Intense Focus, is down the bottom at $2.60. Now that doesn't mean it can't win, but it is first up. It does have a wide barrier, so it has a few things against it. 1,000-metre race, so there's opportunities here, assuming Intense Focus is not such a great horse, to profit from a covered bet, which is what the focus of this video series has been. So not so good yesterday. Monday was alright, so we're probably about square or a little bit up depending on how you look at it. So anyway, going through this very quickly, from the top, Intense Focus is also first up. First up stats are useful, but they're not always that great. 3 for 1 and 1, so it may fire, it may not. Last time it ran first up, third at Wyong in a 59 with 58.5, so slightly more weight, down in class slightly on that run, has a bad barrier. You'd think it's going to be some chance, but that's about all. Next, High Dive, first of 6 at Innisfail in a 54 raider on a Saturday, so the Saturday races are generally weaker, and it was a heavy 8 track, so you would be thinking this is not really going to fire in this race. Mercury Bullet, certainly from the wide barrier last time, did little. Has got some moderate form in other races prior to that, similar sort of race to this, so it could be some sort of chance it's down on the benchmark figures. Strictly Legit, failed last time, beaten 6 lengths over 1200, could be better back over 1000, but doesn't really look it. Looks like it goes fairly quick at times. Has drawn barrier 1, it's probably going to knock up. Dogny, barrier 9, is down a little bit in the weights. Back in distance, 404 days since his last run, seems pretty unlikely. He's Sterling, running a Bowen, beaten a fairway in a slightly weaker race with slightly more weight, so it could be a place chance. It's also first up, so we'll prefer it. Rock Baby Roll, came back from a let up, beaten a long way, and had barrier 14. It's got barrier 13. It's hard to see it improving. On that, did win a Townsville similar race last prep, jumping from a wide gate with similar weight. That was a wet track, so this could improve, so I'll put it in for place. Michelin 5-star, finished close up last time. Now this one has a better barrier, so again it's gone from 13 and 11 where it's finished pretty close, and now it's drawn barrier 5. The problem is it's back from 1400 back to 1000. Its last 1,000-metre run was in a maiden where it was beaten a long way, so it's probably going to be coming home, you would think, so this would be some sort of chance. Miracles aplenty, got back to last from the wide gate. There's no reason why from the wide gate it's not going to get back again, so probably finish home. Could run a place, I suppose, but we'll probably prefer it. Rising Boom, finish close up in a slightly stronger race with slightly more weight from a bad barrier, so this is the sort of horse that could go well. It has got form over longer distances, far last time over 1600, so it's hard to say whether the distance was too far or whether it just wasn't any good, but certainly has a better barrier, and you would think it would have to be some chance. It doesn't seem to be It has got better form on soft tracks though, looking at it. So as a good 4, the weather's fine. It'll probably remain as a good 4. So you'd have to say this is some chance. Seabizkit failed at Charters Towers very badly. Now, whenever you get a horse that is beaten this far, you pretty much just ignore the run, because any horse that's moderately competitive will be beaten less than 10 lengths. So 25 lengths, pretty much. Some major thing went wrong, so you can pretty much forget that run completely. It has got form at Townsville over 1,000 metres. So this has a reasonable barrier. It is first up, and last time first up, well, it ran okay in a slightly stronger race. So this could be some sort of chance, but again, you certainly wouldn't want to have your last on this horse. And Catherine failed last time in a very weak race on a Saturday non-TAB meeting. It's only been running at the non-tabs, although back here it did win a Townsville race in a 52. This is a 54. It's got the same weight. It's got a bad barrier. You wouldn't think it's going to fire. My boy Felix, he won at Charters Towers in a Class B. It's 44 rater. Okay, today it's a 54, so he's up 10 on that win. But he's actually dropped 10, 59 down to 54 on that win. And fired last time in a Mackay race. That was 1100, was handy and then weakened, so back to 1000. Could be a place chance. First up again. So looking at his first up stats, 3 for 1. There's probably a place chance. So that's it, we've gone round them all. Now clearly this Intense Focus horse has the best form in the race, having gone through it. We end up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chances in the race. So it's all going to depend to a large extent on how well prepared this Intense Focus is for the race. We don't have any trial form to look at. The horses, when they move from New South Wales to Queensland, generally perform well. So he's come from New South Wales where his form was pretty good to Queensland where his form's been okay. Don't know what happened in that last run. I'm not going to check the steward's report for that because it doesn't really matter since he's had 98 days off anyway. We take a look at the sectional ratings on the race. So again, we go to Tools, Summary Part 2. Look at the last start sectional ratings adjusted for weight, barrier and so on. The favourite in the race, Intense Focus, is a fair way down. Admittedly, it was a soft 5 track that day, so we don't really know whether the track was really wet, so the sectional time's slow because of that. Came from a wide barrier and lost ground over 1200, so back to 1000 metres and first up could suit better if we go to the previous run. Again, most horses are going to run fast ratings, normally do it in their last couple of starts, or if they're in form. The same thing, in this case it's the 4th top rater. Again, it was on a soft 5 track and over 950 it made up a couple of places. So, but that time it came from barrier 3. So it's very hard to say based on these facts whether it's going to run well first up or not. And so there is some doubt about the horse firing. It has, looking at its form note, around 3rd there in a 59 race with 58.5, so it's not badly weighted compared. It has got barrier 3, it's got barrier 12, so it's almost certainly going to be going back, or it's going to have to work to go forward from that barrier. The other time was first up, second over 950 at Cairns in a, again, slightly stronger race, but it has got slightly more weight on a wet track, so it's hard to say whether it's better on a wet track or not. It has got a win over Kembla Grange over 1400 where it led throughout on a dry track. So it's clearly got ability, this horse. So in terms of risking it, it's not a fabulous risk bet. In terms of the other horses to bet on, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horses, all of which except for this Mercury Bullet are reasonably long priced. Rising Boom's not that It's not that long in price either, the others are. So this is another example of a race where really if you can have a look at the horse before the race, see if it's looking fit, if you can do that. And that's about it for this video. Again, it's one of those days. Thursday is often a day where things can go terribly wrong, so you need to be a bit careful. So if you're going to have a wager on this race, check out the details before you do so. As far as the multiples go, you could probably try taking those 5 in a Quinella. Well, let's try to get some value out of it. So for the Quinella, we would just take those 4. Intense focus, you'd have to be taking that 4th, 3rd and 4th. Alright, so we'll try to chuck in 3, 11, 13 and 14 for 1st and 2nd, and then chuck the 1 in as well for 3rd and 4th. So again, see how we go today on this one.